Hello and good evening, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Glad that you are here. Let me see who is joining so I can say hello to you. Fig the Lady, good to see you. Go Harold, good to see you. Angela Davis, Shelly Jackson, good to see you. Carlos, good to see you. Glaz, good to see you. Grandpa, good to see you. The Tiny Terror, good to see you. K Mighty Brown, Gregory Varoom, Healing Her LLC, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Todd 44. Aaron, good to see you. So glad that you're here. Hey, today we're going to keep it nice and short and just kind of talk for a few moments about relationship rest and why it's so important, right? Relationship stress and relationship rest, they are important topics to talk about. So we're going to talk about that tonight, especially going into a Friday, going into the weekend. For many of us, this will be a message that you can apply right now, immediately, and see benefits from it. Hey, Stephanie, good to see you. Glad that you are here. Alexis, good to see you. Song of Joy, good to see you. Zena, good to see you. Ella J. White, Miss Old School 64, good to see you. Apathetic Empathy, good to see you. Gabriella, Nicole, TM Clark, High Priestess 70 Sandy. So everybody's here. Everybody's joining in. I'm glad that you're here. Fantastic. Good to see you all. So stress and rest. Why are we going to talk about that? Because sometimes in our process of moving from one place to another, we've been trying things, doing things, aspiring to change our lives. We don't consider rest. Rest is important. Think about it like this. Think about it like an equation. For every ounce of stress that you have in your life, there needs to be an ounce and dose of rest as well. But how often do you really strategize this and think about this? It's easy to be on the go. It's easy in this grind culture to be on the grind. But tonight, I want to encourage you to make sure and evaluate your life to make sure that you are giving yourself some time to rest, that you are deciding intentionally that you are going to step away from things that are noisy and things that are stressful and give yourself a little peace. Now, when I talk about stress, I'm not even talking about all the negative stress. Sometimes stress can show up in the form of a positive, right? Sometimes there can be things, exciting things, wonderful things that are happening in your life that can cause some stress, right? It could be a new job opportunity, or you got a new client, or you're on the verge of finishing this project that you've been working on, and there is a stress associated with that. And it's not negative, it's going to have a positive impact on your life. However, that is still stress in and of itself. Yesterday, I talked about how it was my grandparents' 70, it would have been their 76th anniversary. But my grandfather, he passed away in January. So my grandmother was celebrating and having to have this moment by herself. There was no 76th anniversary for the both of them together. There was 75 and they were together, and then 76, he had gone home to be with the Lord before that date happened yesterday. And so for her, there was a level of stress, right? She's still in a place of being hurt, and still in a place of sorrow, and still grieving and going through a process. She's still having first times. That was a first time moment where she was having an anniversary without her spouse of 75 years. Stress. But for that stress, there also needs to be a release. There needs to be a time, a moment where you're able to sit back and have some peace and have some calm. And this is very important for our lives. Sometimes we're wondering why we cannot get to the breakthrough and the changes in our lives. And a part of it is because we actually never back off. Thinking about how when you're in the gym and you're exercising, you're working out, and whenever you're exercising, you are putting and placing a demand and some stress on your body. And it's a good thing, but at that same time, while you are exercising, you are actually breaking yourself down. You're diminishing your energy, you're breaking down your muscles. There are micro tears and things that are happening within your body. There is a breakdown that is happening. It is actually a self-destructive behavior that has positive benefits. But the positive benefits do not actually show up during the moment when you're exercising. The greatest amount of growth and development and healing and all that happens in the time that you rest. When you are not pushing yourself, when you are taking some time to recover and rest and nourish yourself and give your body a break from the demand of that moment, that is where your body begins to heal. That is where the conversation internally begins to happen, where your body says, I've been through a lot. I've been going through some stuff. There's been a lot of pressure on me, but now there's this moment of breath. There's this moment of peace. And in this moment of peace, my stress level can decrease. I don't have to be in this place of fighting and being armed and guarded. No, no, no. This is my place where I get to heal, where I get to be nourished and replenished. So as you go into the weekend, I want to encourage you to go into the weekend with some rest in mind. Consider what you've been addressing in life. Consider the challenges that you've been facing. Consider the obstacles. Consider the great things that have been going on, the exciting things. Consider all of it. And then strategize. How can I do a couple things? How can I rest? What can I do that will actually allow me to have a moment of peace, quiet, rest, where my mind is not being engaged, where my body's not being engaged, where I can simply just sit and just allow myself to be refreshed and renewed? What can I do? Where can I go? What time can I carve out to simply rest? And then think about this. What can I do to nourish myself in the midst of that rest? See, it's one thing to rest, and rest is great. But think about your nutrition for a second, actually, your physical nutrition. What is something that you can consume? What is something that you can eat? What is something that you can drink that will actually replenish you? After all that you've been through, after all your struggle, after all your effort, what is something that you can place and deposit into your body that would increase nutrients, that would re-energize you? Consider your food for a moment. Don't just go through another weekend pounding back a few drinks or eating some junk or don't just do that. Think about for a moment, what can I do to make an investment in myself that would actually nourish me? Are there some vitamins, some minerals, something in the food that I'm eating or choosing that would actually restore me, replenish me? And when you do that, while you are consuming this food or drink or whatever it may be in this environment that you've carved out, in this moment that you've set aside specifically to rest, start thinking about the other aspects of your life. What what parts of my life can I nourish? What are things that I can do? Just get into a mindset where you start to think about what you're doing, where you can say, yeah, sure, I'm going to work. I'm going to put forth a lot of effort. I'm going to go all out and go strong and give my very best. And then I also realize there are times that I need to replenish myself. There are times that I need to, perhaps you have a staff that you're working with or a team. There are times that I need to replenish my staff and my team and make sure that they're in a healthy environment. Start thinking about the cycle of stress and rest for all of the demand that we place on ourselves. Are we at the same time strategizing how much rest we are going to give to those that are working with us, to ourselves, to the environment that we're in? There always has to be a rest. Because for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And if we only want to place a demand of effort, then there's going to be an imbalance and something is going to be damaged in the cycle, in the process. So begin to think, what can I do to give myself rest? What can I do to, to just have the environment around me rest? For this last season at the farm, in the winter, the crops, there were no crops growing. There was nothing growing in the flower bed. The flower bed was at rest. It was not giving forth its effort and energy and life to produce life. It was resting. And here in a few days, we're going to start cultivating and doing things so that it can be prepared to actually bring forth life again. There has to be a rhythm. Sometimes when you're gardening and growing crops, you have to let something be dormant for a while in order for it to heal and be replenished so that it can give itself to growth again. Sometimes we just ask of ourselves that we just want to grow and grow and grow. And before long, we're burnt out, we're tired, we're frustrated, we're getting negative returns. It seems like every bit of effort that we're putting in is only producing a negative outcome. Sometimes we do it in relationships when we talk with someone and we might be engaged with someone and having this relationship with them and we want to make something happen. We want to see our relationship be healed and restored and made better. And we want to go to the next level and we want to grow and we want the love back. We want all these great and wonderful things, but yet sometimes we never really back off the conversation and just let it breathe. How about we just back off for a little bit? How about we don't address the tough topic? How about we just lay off for a little bit and allow there to be rest? Even in sports, if you consider sports as hard as those players, those athletes go, as well conditioned as they are, they prepare for in their off seasons for the season so that they can compete at the highest level. And yet, even in those moments and situations, there's always a timeout. There's always somebody that's going to call a timeout. And then if you ever watch during the timeouts, there's typically someone that'll run on the field and they'll bring a water bottle and they'll bring something to refresh those that have been exerting a lot of energy. Rest is important. Your mind needs it. I think about sometimes being in school or studying for a topic and you're taking in all this information because you want to do well. That is your heart's desire. But as you do it, you can actually build up stress that causes you to forget things that you once knew because you're processing at such a stressful level that you're not actually able to let the information that you are receiving soak in. You're actually not processing it because your stress is producing so many chemicals that it's getting in the way of your processing. Rest is important. When you start processing your life, not only from the place of exertion and stress, but also from the place of rest, you'll get a different perspective. See, when you rest and when you slow down, you'll be able to hear your thoughts. And I know you might be thinking, that's the problem. I actually don't want to hear my thoughts. But those thoughts, the ones that you might even be trying to mask by working, those are the thoughts that can help you produce an answer. That's where you might be able to hear what is really troubling you, what is really frustrating you, what is the heart and the root of the problem. Rest. When you decide, you know what, I'm just gonna turn on the TV for a moment. I don't normally watch TV, but I'm gonna turn on the TV for a moment and just watch a show. And you might watch a show or watch a movie, and then all of a sudden, in the midst of the movie, if you've ever had this happen, I've had it happen a lot. I can be watching a show or a movie or something, and then all of a sudden, in the midst of the show or the movie, something pops up that like is a message directly for me. And I get the solution, I get the answer because I took a moment to rest and I did something that might have been mindless. I'm watching this movie, I'm watching this TV show, but then I see something, I hear something, and it's the very encouragement that I needed. And sometimes that won't happen until we rest. Sometimes you won't gain a different perspective until you decide to rest. And it's in that rest that you might be actually sitting back in your house somewhere or on a couch or going on a drive with someone, deciding, hey, let's just have some quality time together. Let's just do something together, hang out. And it might be in that time that you're sitting there and just able to be rested. And you look over and you see something in the person that you're with, the same person that you've had so much frustration with. You look over and you just look at them and you say, hmm, I really do love you. I really do appreciate you. And you might just be looking at them and you might see them in a way that you haven't seen them in a while. You might just look at their countenance and their face, and it might just make you smile. It might just tenderize your heart when you're looking at them. Or listen, truth be told, you might look over at that person and you might realize, I don't want to be with you anymore. This needs to be over. This needs to be done. You might come to the realization that you've been hanging on to something that you really need to let go of. And all that stress that you've been feeling being in this relationship with this person that you really do not want to be in a relationship with anymore, it needs to come to an end because you need real rest, extended rest from all the crap and mess and drama that has been associated with this person and all the mess that this relationship has brought into your life. Rest. See, the thing about rest doesn't mean that after I finish resting, I'm going back to do the same thing that I was doing prior to the rest. Doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you're just regaining your energy to go back into that same fight. Sometimes you are resting because you are about to decide this is over and this is done. Sometimes you, in your place of rest, you're going to decide that the habits that you've had, these unhealthy habits, the ones that have been breaking you down and causing you to stress out and feel sick and end up in the hospital and cause disease in your body, you may, in a place of rest, decide, I'm not going back to that type of experience in life. I'm not going to be doing those things anymore. I need a change. And I'm deciding to change out of this place of rest. Sometimes rest can be the very thing that is the hardest to do because it's the thing that is most needed. And so when you decide that you are going to rest and have that time of peace, there's going to be a struggle with it. But that struggle associated with rest will help you grow. And so tonight, I'm encouraging you to find a balance between the stress and the rest. That you would say to yourself, grant yourself that permission to say, I'm going to take X amount of time for myself. I'm going to turn my phone off. Like I know for someone that's probably like very traumatic. Like, I'm going to turn my phone off. Yeah, turn your phone off. Just get away from your phone for a little bit. Get away from the access that other people might want from you and the notifications and all of that. Try to get as much as possible. Try to get out into nature. Get outside, even if it's like raining or the storm or like storming where you are. Just get outside. Maybe you just go and you sit in a car and you just sit there and you let the rain just beat on the car and just listen to it. Just look at the rain on the windshield. Don't sit there and complain that it's raining, right? Just sit there and just enjoy it. Enjoy the rhythm of the rain, or get out in nature and enjoy the scenery that's in nature. Go and look for something that is growing. Look for something that is just natural. Take some nice deep breaths while you're outside. Take a bath. Take an extended shower. Light a candle and just enjoy being in candlelight. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to wait for a romantic moment, right? But make it a romantic moment for yourself. Light a few candles, turn off all of the major lights, and just sit and watch the flames flicker for a little bit. Doesn't have to be for hours on end, but maybe 10 minutes of just being in some quiet, some peace, allowing your system to just settle down. There's amazing healing that's available in the place of rest. Like, going is great, doing is great. Sometimes we need to practice being, just being in a place of stillness. So I encourage you to do that. Find something that nourishes you. Set aside a moment for you. Like, really block it out. Like, hey, tell your family, look, for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long, I don't want to be disturbed. I don't want to be bothered. I'm just going to have some quiet me time and just enjoy it. Hey, I'm getting ready to take a bath. Nobody knock on the door. I don't want anybody bothering me. I'm just gonna have some quiet time. I'm gonna go grab myself something to eat, a freshly made juice from the store or something, like a real natural juice. You know me, I've been juicing here lately with my carrot juice and apple juice and orange juice and cucumber and all this stuff, making all these different concoctions of juices because I got a juicer for my birthday. And I just feel like it is, I don't just feel like it, I know it. I know that it's having an impact on me. I feel good, right? Just taking in some natural juice that I made for myself. No chemicals, no additives, no preservatives. Look, there are things that you can do, like just invest. You invest in a juicer or something, and you can start making your fresh juice. Then you start making it a practice and a habit of caring for yourself because you matter that much. Earlier today, I shared this message, and I was holding a lot of flowers. I bought myself a lot of flowers yesterday as I went and got some flowers for my grandmother, and I saved some, and I bought some for myself so I could beautify my own environment. And today I was sharing this idea that much like I did last night when I said, "Hey, go out, get yourself some flowers in honor of my grandparents' 75 years." I was like, "Treat yourself. Do something for yourself for the healing process. And if you get them, take a picture of them, hashtag it 75 years of cuddles," right? Because they've been married 75 years. And so many people said they were going to go out and do it, and I really hope that you do. And but for those of you that are here tonight, think about the same thing. Go grab yourself some flowers. Treat yourself to something beautiful to add to this moment. And it's something about just having some fresh flowers or a fresh plant, right, that you put into your environment. And do it when you do it, when you go get the flowers or the plant, whatever it is, that's something that's living. Go tell yourself this. Tell yourself, "I'm proud of you." For whatever you've done this week, for whatever you've accomplished, for whatever you've made it through, because we've all made it through something this week. We've all faced struggles, but we've kept going. Whatever you've made it through, whatever you've accomplished, whatever you've done, take that as a moment to simply tell yourself, "I'm proud of you." And articulate it, say it. Say it so that you can hear it. Just tell yourself, "I'm proud of you." Like get in the process and the practice of acknowledging your own efforts. And as you acknowledge your efforts, let it be a way to usher yourself into rest, into some times of peace. And it will work, it will do wonders for you. Like I said, it might be a struggle at first, but if you can find yourself a quiet place, dim the lights, light a candle, and you find a place of peace and relaxation where you can sit still, not have your eyes being stimulated, none of that, just resting. And just allow yourself to be there, be present, breathe nice and deep, and it will work wonders for you. It will actually begin healing you in many ways. So, I just wanted to encourage you with that today. We are on the journey, yes, to our mountaintop experiences. We've envisioned it, we've been working through it, we're walking towards it, we're climbing the mountains, we're overcoming the obstacles, and all of that is fantastic and part of the journey. But at the same time, I shared with you a few weeks ago that when I looked at the video of the man who was climbing the group that was climbing the mountain, they talked about there being these things called base camps. And that's where they would set up and they would camp out for a little bit and they would rest before they decided it was time to go and start climbing the mountain again. Well, if it's good for them climbing a mountain, it's good for us. It's good for you to set up a base camp every now and then and just find a place of peace, find a place of rest, find a place where you can acknowledge what you have done, honor that, and then allow yourself to heal there, recover there, and then you can move on again. And you'll move on with much more energy, much more passion, a renewed sense of life because you are now working